Hi, it's Julia Talbot here, certified holistic nutritionist and lifestyle coach at awesomehealthy.com. Today, we are talking about hormonal imbalances that can cause depression and anxiety. And depression and anxiety are really scary things because they can literally paralyze people's lives. And the worst thing about depression and anxiety is that it can literally steal your joy and happiness. It can steal that enjoyment from your life. When your life is dominated by it, you find yourself in a very dark spot, in a very dark and vulnerable spot. And in that spot, people start to attract the things and experiences that are negative, that are low, that are dark, and quite often when we talk to people and when we work with our clients, what they say is that they don't understand what's happening to them. They know that they are a very different person, that they're bright, they're positive, they've always been, a happy person, and all of a sudden they feel disempowered and low, and it's like they stepped into another person's body, and that other person's body is very negative, it's very anxious, it's very, depressed and scared about things and constantly worries about things and feels low in energy, and they just cannot do anything about it. And the most frustrating thing is that when people come to doctors with depression and anxiety, quite often doctors will say that it's all in your head. You're just creating it and, everything is good. Or they will prescribe antidepressants or anxiety medication, which can actually make things worse because medication comes with its own side effects. And it doesn't actually help people with anxiety and depression. It just numbs them. The sort of things that can be experienced by people with anxiety and depression, and I don't know if you're going to find it familiar now, is that you have really low energy levels. It's just this fatigue that people get up in the morning and they feel like they want to go back to bed. There's just this increased level of fatigue that just keeps getting worse all the time. And also problems with sleeping. So people will find quite often that they have difficulties falling asleep, or they have to wake up a lot during the night, or they, struggle sleeping altogether at night because of anxiety and depression. Another symptom as well is loss of pleasure and excitement in life. And this is something that is really scary. It's a scary thing that we are here to enjoy life. We are here to experience life to the full. And there are certain things that are meant to give us pleasure, like a walk a walk down the street or in the park or in the woods, or connection with your partner, or time spent with your kids, or listening to your favorite music. These things are meant to be uplifting us and energizing us. And people with depression and anxiety, it just means nothing to them. And they lose sense of life, they lose purpose of life, and quite often they have dark thoughts of suicidal thoughts and depressing and really thoughts of death. You may be thinking, why does it happen? What's the root cause of it? Well, actually, in the majority of cases, it is to do with hormonal imbalances. And it is to do with certain changes in the body that affects our mental and emotional state. And when people go to doctors, and if they come to a doctor with a symptom, which is anxiety or depression, the doctor will treat anxiety and depression. But if the root cause is hormonal imbalance, is imbalance in the body, that's not going to be dealt with, unfortunately, by the majority of traditional doctors. So let's talk about how hormones affect your mental and emotional state. So for ladies, when we experience that time of the month, when we experience menstruation, PMS and changes in progesterone and changes in estrogen can bring about changes in our mental and emotional state. Now, if you have a healthy body, you will go through these changes, but they won't be as dramatic if compared to someone who's very toxic, who's very unhealthy, whose body is very sick. So this is when ladies can just feel totally flat and not be able to function. Another one is adrenal fatigue. And adrenal fatigue is probably the most common symptom that people experience when they come to work with us. It's probably the number one symptom that people have, and it's a very, very common thing in our world. And of course, with adrenal fatigue, people feel drained, people feel anxious, that anxiety starts to develop. And then people can start having problems with their sleep, and they can start experiencing depression as well. Now, another common hormonal imbalance that leads to anxiety and depression is thyroid issues. So thyroid issues are a huge problem in our world. And unfortunately, 60% of people with thyroid issues don't even know that they have them, because doctors often don't look into it, and they don't do the blood work, and they don't pay attention to it. Again, they will deal with anxiety and depression without testing people's thyroid. And when thyroid goes out of balance, this is where people start feeling anxious big time. This is where people start feeling depressed big time. And this is where many women, and actually men as well, men also have thyroid imbalances, will find themselves in a place of total exhaustion and being disempowered and wanting to do things but not being able to do things, and low libido and compromised relationship with your partner. So it can all start happening when thyroid is out of balance. And of course, menopause. So women who go through menopause, menopausal women, premenopausal women can naturally experience hormonal rise, right? So it's a big adjustment for the body. It's a big adaptation to make for the body. And again, if the body is unhealthy, if women have had hormonal imbalances for years before coming into their menopause, then they can really experience dramatic ups and downs, with depression and anxiety being the symptoms that they can experience. So the question is, what can you do about hormonal imbalances? What is it that you can do about anxiety and depression? The answer is not medication, as you would have probably gathered from this broadcast already. It's not more medication. It's not different type of medication. But the answer is really balancing your body. So it is to do with the food that you put into your body that will start affecting your hormones and will start affecting your mental and emotional state as well. It is to do with your lifestyle. It is to do with correcting certain deficiencies and cleansing your body and making sure that you don't have heavy metals and you don't have parasites, and you really cleanse your body on a deep level. And it is also to do with your mindset, with your emotional state. So it is a combination of things. But the biggest change that you can make on your way to recovering from depression and anxiety, most likely due to hormonal imbalances, is to do with your nutrition. It is to do with switching to a plant-based, whole foods lifestyle that is based upon an abundance of raw foods, because you do need to cleanse your body. You do need to balance your body. You do need to bring the foods that help you maintain hormonal balance versus bring your body out of balance. And, you've got to be consistent, and you've got to stay consistent with it. And quite often we see people who said, well, I've tried it for a week or two, and I just couldn't maintain it. And I gave up on it, and I went back to my old lifestyle. And okay, so you went back to your old lifestyle to experience what? All the old symptoms, right? So you've already been there. Why do you want to go back there? It's time to move on, and it's time to create a new life, and it's time to make that leap. And if you do it the right way, you will experience results. And if you want to discover the 5 steps that our clients use to balance their chronic conditions and lose weight naturally without starvation, without excluding carbohydrates, then do sign up to my free online masterclass, where I will take you through the steps. Let me just pop it on the screen. There you go. Where I will take you through the steps for you to implement and change your life. So it's rawesomehealthy.com/webinar. All right. So thank you so much for watching this video. And if you have any questions, pop them in the questions section underneath. And remember to like and share this video. And thank you again for watching.